Hi, ever wonder what it's like to work another profession or live in the underworld? Listen to unsuspecting riders give a 10 to 15 minute personal masterclass as I spontaneously interview them as they enter my taxi. I'm your host, Simon Rushton, and this is Taxi Chronicles. Morning. Yes, we're back with another episode and another rider. A very beautiful rider today. It's a lovely lady called Ashley, and she's a ballet dancer, and she looks like she could do that number where she stands on her toes, which I certainly couldn't do. But anyway, nice to have you here today, Ashley.
Thank you, lovely to be here.
Okay, so tell us about what age did you realise you want to be a ballet dancer and why?
Well, I started when I was 3, so I've been dancing for a long time, and I'm originally from Australia.
Okay.
And when I was 15, I moved over here to the UK by myself to pursue a career in ballet, and so that was the moment that I really kind of committed to this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's all right. There's 2 points there when I'm going to ask questions. First point is 15. That's very young.
Yeah.
Did you have to get permission from your parents? Or?
Yeah, they were obviously fully supportive, and they brought me over here and then left me and then went back home. But there's just so much more opportunities over here for dance, particularly ballet. Obviously, Europe being so close, Australia's quite isolated. There's not as many opportunities. And it was kind of the done thing. So even though I was 15, I knew a lot of girls who'd done the same thing, and I thought it was very normal.
Were you put with a ballet school?
I was, yes.
Oh, so you weren't like just dumped here, told to find a school yourself?
No, I'd sent out audition videos and I got accepted into a school.
Oh, so you was, I see, it's like a boarding school.
Yeah, well, first year we were boarding, and then second year was
on your own.
On your own,
like,
yeah.
Like universities here.
Yeah, exactly.
So what, what was the impact? What was the main? How do I put this? So I'm fumbling here. What was the main surprise for you, culture surprise, when you came to England?
Obviously the weather's quite different. But to be honest, because we're part of the Commonwealth and everything, Australia and England are quite similar, and it was an easy, an easy place to come to, first off, because it's not, crazily different.
Okay. With your dancing, what does it take to be a ballet dancer? Sorry.
Obviously it's a very physical job, so a lot of it's really simply like your physicality. You've got to be able to have like really straight legs and point your feet and balance and jump and all different things, and so you kind of find out from a young age which of those you're good at, which of those you need to work on, flexibility, things like that. And yeah, it is a tough career, and it's, like any in the arts industry where you have to audition a lot, you'll get a lot of knockbacks, so you've got to be quite thick-skinned. And then at the end of the day, it's a performance, so you've got to be like personality, face, be a performer really is the main thing.
What are you performing in now? Because I know obviously we're on lockdown, but are you like with a theatre group where you're doing a play or?
So I'm with a company called Matthew Bourne's New Adventures at the moment, who is probably most famous for his all-male Swan Lake. So any dance fans will probably know that piece. So we haven't actually performed in a year due to lockdown, and we're currently kind of workshopping the Nutcracker, which will open in October. So we still have a long way to go, but we're just in doing some rehearsals, some workshops, and classes, keeping ourselves fit and ready for when that comes around.
Yeah, so you're just training for the moment, for the rush.
Yeah.
Whether the rush is going to be a couple of weeks or a month.
Exactly.
No one knows. Okay, so education-wise, do you do GCSEs in Australia?
We have an equivalent, called School Certificate.
Okay.
And I did mine by correspondence, so I kind of like homeschool, did that whilst doing my dance training. But yeah, I have those equivalent qualifications.
Is there any specific qualifications a ballet dancer needs?
Not particularly, like you don't necessarily need a diploma or a certificate. There are, like, I have my diploma in dance, but you kind of never really asked for that again. Most companies require at least 3 years vocational training, so in a proper ballet school where you do it full time. But again, not always. It's just auditions and you show up, and if you're the best, you get the job. So you don't actually need any paperwork. You just have to have the goods, basically.
Yeah. So someone could have been homeschooled on ballet and they turned up and they're the best and they get the job.
Exactly, yeah.
So how long have you been in the ballet industry?
So professionally, I'm trying to work back now. Well, the company that I'm currently in, I've been for 10 years. So, do I? Thank you.
You said you started with 3, 10 years. Yeah, okay. Okay.
Yep.
So I shouldn't be working out your age.
That's fine.
But that's very impressive. What would you say you've learned that you wish you knew when you had started?
That's a really good question. I would say probably, and this is something that I do tell lots of students who ask this question, is just to be more versatile. I think particularly growing up, I was very much like just ballet and I just wanted to do ballet. But there's so many dance styles out there, you know, and like now I do a mix of ballet and contemporary and jazz, and I mean there's musical theatre and acting and gymnastics and singing, and there's like so much more to, you know, the performing arts world that I think the more you can do, the more chance you have to work and the more exciting projects come along. So I kind of wish I'd done more acting classes, more singing classes, just a bit more, really.
There's a movie which is about ballet where Keira Knightley, and there's another woman who looks like her, and they're wrapping their toes and there's like breaking nails or... Is there a lot of injuries involved in ballet?
Yeah, tons. Obviously we're balancing up on our toes, and that's like the whole body weight has to be on the right joint, and so we all have black toenails and blisters, and I had surgery in June on my ankle from years of going up. So it's very, very common injuries in dance, but you do everything you can to prevent them and make sure you're working right and warm up properly and sleep well and eat right and all those things that athletes do to avoid that.
Is there like an average lifespan, like it's a young person's thing? It's like when I hit 30 or even 28, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, it's a much earlier retirement than other careers for sure. I'd say classical ballet, 40 maybe. Okay. You know, other styles you can go a little bit longer.
What's the difference? Why you can go longer?
I think the point work is one of the main ones, because
when you say point work,
that's the shoes where you go up on your toes.
So they got that block with cotton wool or something.
Yeah, you like pad it yourself with cotton wool to make it a bit softer, but they're essentially wooden shoes that you stand up on. And that's just, you know, after years and years, you go on point when you're about 11, 12. So you do that for so long. And then I think by that point, the body can't take it as much. Of course, there's like individual cases for everything. But then say even like musical theatre or contemporary-ish, you can seem to go a little bit longer, it seems.
But you said you started when you were 3. We've been speaking about injuries. What ages did you start having injuries?
Do you know what? I don't think I had a serious injury until I was about 16.
Okay. And what was that? If you don't mind me asking.
I just like went over on my ankle at school, and I snapped the ligaments and the tendons and all the bits that were holding it together. My foot blew up like a football, like instantly, and it was black for about 3 months. It was like a really bad, but that was like an accident injury where something happened, like I fell. Whereas most injuries tend to be niggles over time that get worse and worse, and things like backs and ankles are big ones, knees, things like that.
You've spoken about the different styles of dance. What's your most preferred and why?
I mean, it's so funny because I said I'd love to go back and do more and more, but classical ballet is still kind of my favorite and my original, dance form. And it really is kind of like the center of, like, if you do ballet, you can branch out to the others so much easier, where it's hard to, if you do another one, to come to ballet, because ballet's really tough and it's really technical and it's really old school, but it's such a good foundation for all of dance.
I suppose there's not many dance industries where you have to go up on your toes.
Yeah.
And stuff, and then jump and pivot and do that Swan Lake kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
And everything that you do. Okay. So can you tell us a bit about the other styles then? You said you spoke about jazz ballet. What's the difference? Was it just people playing saxophone music in the background?
Yeah, kind of. Like, it tends to be like music and dynamic. I mean, jazz isn't my like top style, but it tends to be more like ballet's very turned out. Jazz you can turn in.
So when you say turn out, turn in, what's...
So like your legs, when you stand in ballet, they turn out and they face away from each other. Yeah. And then like contemporary and jazz, you tend to be in parallel with your legs and feet rather than rotated out. Which sounds like not that big of a deal, but when you've trained your whole life to turn out, to actually turn in is quite difficult.
Muscle memory. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And yeah, jazz is just more of a style, like more kind of, like you said, jazz music or modern day music, and a bit more funky, a bit more fun, I suppose. Yeah. I
understand. So apart from that company you've been working for, what big show, have you done any big shows?
Well, I've been with this company for 10 years, and so I've done Swan Lake, Cinderella, Nutcracker, The Carman, The Red Shoes, Edward Scissorhands. We did a show of that.
So you're a heavyweight then?
Yeah, I've done a few shows, yeah.
I should be honoured. Not that I know anything about ballet, but yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So, one of the last questions coming to the end.
Mm-hmm.
What's the impact you want to have on the world?
I suppose, like everyone, I just want to leave some sort of mark, and theatre and art in general is so powerful and it can be so moving to people, that the more people I can just kind of reach out to and touch in some sort of way, brings me a lot of joy. And that's what's been so hard about the pandemic, is not being able to reach those audiences, because that's what we do. We perform to crowds, to people. Without those people, our art isn't what it's supposed to be, basically. So it's all about connections and connecting with people. And I meet people at stage door and get lovely messages about how much they were moved and how they were in tears and how it was nostalgic for them, or lots of different reasons why it touched them. And that's just really special to be able to reach people.
Mm-hmm. I understand. What's the future hold for you? Obviously, we've got the pandemic, but assuming there's no pandemic, what's the future?
Well, I just want to keep dancing as long as I can. However long that may be is kind of up to your body, and up to your employers also. But I think, it's been part of my life for so long that I don't think I'll ever not be in the dance world. During this time I've done loads of teaching, which I absolutely love to do, and, inspire the next generation and all the young people dancing. I think I'll always be involved in that world.
So are you going to set up a training school yourself?
I would love to, actually, and I would actually love to back in Australia as well. Still got lots of connections back there. I'd love to teach and set up my own school, for sure.
That's good. So thanks for that. It's been a great interview. Where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram as Asharella14, which is ASHARELLA 14. And then just on Instagram is my main platform. So come say hi.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And we wish you well.
Thank you.
We hope you liked that interview. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to get the latest daily episode. Ever considered investing in a continent with the fastest growing economy and population on Earth? The same continent that holds 30% of the world's known natural resources? Then listen to our sister podcast, Africa Investor Stories, where you will hear real investors with real stories from around the world share their experience of investing in Africa. We post Monday and Thursday at 10 a.m.